Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Middara, Unintentional Malum, Act 1. So, um, I do want to talk a little bit more about the garter knives. So, like I mentioned last video, these were originally introduced as a different promo card, which was an uncommon relic, which meant that it was purchasable, but it was uncommon, so it was down here. You would be pretty far into the main story before you actually get a chance to purchase them. But it was guaranteed. As long as you had the money and you reach that point in the game, you can get the garter knives, which is still very powerful. Like I said, there's weaknesses for throwing weapons, and that is if you go up against anything that has good armor, you'll be doing far less damage. It being a wandering relic, the chance that you can actually potentially go through an entire playthrough of the story mode without ever seeing them drop, because they only drop when you draw the unique card as part of the unique loot card, which, like I said, is a 1 in 30 chance. And even if you get the 1 in 30 chance, it's going to be, was it 7 plus the number of wanderings you've included in the game. In this case, it was literally a 1 in 30 and a 1 in 30. So our chance was like 1 in 900 chance to get it as this early. Obviously, as you progress and you keep, getting more opportunities to get unique loot drops and things like that, you'll gradually thin out the deck, maybe, possibly. That being said, every time you go to a new tier, you'll get these. You'll be swapping out the unique cards for other ones and refilling them. But yeah, us getting that lucky and getting it really early is definitely going to have a humongous boost for us. I cannot overstate how lucky we were for that fight. Obviously, I was playing. I've done it. I've done the mast many times, and I've been killed in the mast a few times because it is a very dangerous point because you don't have very much control over your build. But that Gavaden, like I said, when I played it with my friend, I think it was Zeke. Like Zeke ran up and attacked it. We tried to take it in the water, but we just kept rolling so bad that we missed, and he would attack us back and roll max damage and just like literally one-shot us. Like if a Gavaden rolls max damage, he's doing, it'll be 15, assuming I didn't have any dodge, it'll be 7 damage base, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It would do like 14 damage. And that's assuming it's not including courage. It's you can very easily get killed in this. Speaking of things that can potentially kill us very easily, we'll see something very soon and probably in the next video. But for right now, this is gonna be cathartic because there's still ways this is going to go wrong. Like I have all these throwable items now that are reusable, quote unquote. But I could always roll ones. If I roll ones on the purples, then there's not much I can do about it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, poor doggy. Remy stared down at the slain Gavaden. I don't suppose anyone has a shovel. I feel like we should bury it. She couldn't help her wings from drooping a little, no matter how excited the rest of her friends were at their victory. Nightingale rose from where she'd been rinsing her hands in the dark water. I don't think you can dig a grave in a stone floor. I guess, Remy said. I wish they weren't so murdery. Looks so much like a dog. You'd expect it to act like one, but we're not on Earth anymore. Remy turned, leaving the Gavaden's corpse behind. You have pets, Remy? Zeke asked. Let me guess. Cat, right? Yeah, how'd you know? Remy replied, surprised. You look like a cat person. I bet you had a dozen, Zeke said. Remy folded her arms, glaring. Only one. Zeke laughed and lit a cigarette. Continue to second night, page 13. That night, they found another small chamber off the main path, just barely big enough for the four of them to make camp. So Nightingale volunteered for scouting duty this time. It was nice to have something mindless to do. It was like all the housekeeping she'd done back in her family's little motel on Earth, rocking out with headphones in from room to room. Nightingale happened to be passing by the entrance of a nearby chamber when she caught a flicker of light from just outside. She stepped outside, waving in the direction of the approaching light. Hello? She grinned, drawing her weapon. The light was growing quickly, coming from a direction they hadn't explored yet. Nightingale gripped her weapon tightly, preparing for a fight. Another few seconds, and the light and footsteps resolved into a man, stooped with the weight of a heavy sack. His armor was tattered, and he walked with a slight limp. In the faint light of his glowstone, the thin man looked triumphant. Oh! She lowered the weapon, striding casually into the hallway in front of him. Thought you were a monster. Nah, the man pointed back to the way he had come. Our group just killed a tomb guardian back there. Thing was loaded with too much loot for us to carry. This is my second trip. Looks like we're doing better than the royalty. Nightingale's smile faded. Oh yeah? She asked, considering her options. So, the Nightingale player would make this decision. You can either extort the man for extra loot, or leave him unharassed. Nightingale is obviously not the most pure of souls. She's also very much a gamer type girl, where she will definitely take advantage of additional loot and things like that. Also, I am going to take advantage of any prior knowledge. I know what both these options do. I used to always leave him unharassed to be the nice guy, but honestly, I want to get every advantage I can get, so I'm going to extort him. Let me take that for you, page 13. You know, it's probably not safe to carry so much all by yourself. Nightingale smiled slyly at him. I could take some of it for you, lighten your load. The man paused for a moment, glaring at her. I guess it was our second trip. He stopped, heaving the sack down onto the ground. I guess you can have a few things. Nightingale slid past him, reaching into the sack and scooping up as much as she could carry. Your bag will be much lighter now. She didn't wait for him to respond as she hurried back to camp. And the party gains 1 random mundane relic and 2 random mundane consumables. So really the big thing here is the random mundane relic. Now, karma usually hits me in this point because there's at least 1 relic that's completely worthless that we can get, unless you happen to have a bow. That being said, any relic is 1 less relic that we need to purchase in the future, because relics are, unlike consumables, are gear that will carry over. So, let's start with the consumables first. We're gonna shuffle and grab the top 2. Smoke bomb and juice box. All right, and then we're gonna shuffle once for this. Oh, one thing to note about relics: there are weapons that are also relics. Remember those double keywords? Some of those do have a instead of being like a one-handed, two-handed side, they may have a weapon side and a relic side. So I do need to take those double cards, which will be the pan flute, which is a promo card, the wand, which is also a relic on the opposite side, this relic, and the guitar, which is another promo card. And I think that's all of them. Yeah, the rest of these are not relics. So these do need to be added into the relic pile before you shuffle. Now, this is something I tend to forget more often than not. So I'm glad I caught it this time, because it obviously will change what you can potentially draw. And then I have to make sure to put them back afterwards. All right, so 15 cards. Here we go. Shuffle once and take the top. We get a wand of missiles. So this, I mentioned in the last video, like obviously about the garter knives, but if you get something like a bow or any sort of ranged weapon, that can definitely help you a lot in this particular, through the mass, because just having any sort of ranged weapon that you can use infinitely that doesn't kill yourself, like Gore Shot, is a plus. All right. So with that, actually I'm going to keep it as is now for now, because we may get more relics in the future. Okay. So the party gets this, so we can distribute them how we want. So let's go ahead and distribute the juice box. At this point, we'll give this to I'll give this to Nightingale, and the smoke bomb we'll just give to Rook. As for the wand of missiles, let's talk about the weapon side. It's Spellcraft Wand Double. It has you might notice it has an arrow icon, which means it's ranged. That 4 represents that it has a range of 4. Now the thing about equipment is you can't mix. So for example, this longsword is melee and this is range. You can't do this. You can't have one of each. But some items, some weapons are actually classified as both, in which case they usually will copy whichever the other hand is. If it's a situation where you have both of them being wild cards like this one, you'll just default to melee. But so yeah, for longsword, right now it's a melee attack. But if I take off the longsword and put the wand of missiles in, it now becomes a ranged attack, in which case I'll be rolling 2 purples and the black die because of the empower. Now, Wand of Missiles has a combo wand ability, which is you can exhaust it to increase the range of your spells by 2. But I don't have another wand to combo it with. The relic side has combo Spellcraft, which is per encounter you can choose the target of when you choose the target of a spell, you can increase your SOI by 2. It's a per encounter effect. Now, that being said, I do have a spellcraft item, which is the Magic Talisman, so I could do something like this, in which case I can do a shot of Gore Shot from 6 range, which does have its benefits. And if I ever want to swap, I can always do a re-equip from there. It's hard to say what I mean, if I didn't have the Garter Knives, I would probably consider just swapping in the Wand of Missiles at this point. But I think for right now, we'll have it as a relic on Nightingale. That way I have a 6-range Gore Shot if I need to. That can do 2 to 4 damage. And then I can always do a re-equip if I need to. And obviously the Empower can make the Wand of Missiles okay. Oh, speaking of the Wand of Missiles, the symbols for this is the same as the Magic Talisman. So Tomes and Burst will do extra magic damage. Okay. So with all that taken care of, we'll go to Sleep Tight, which is page 14. The little room heated much better than the vast chamber from the night before, and soon enough they were all toasty around the fire. I'm not really sure what I'll do when I graduate, Rook said. My family probably wants me to come home, but after everything I've seen, I couldn't just go back to the farm. What, you don't like farming? A little cloud floated from Zeke. He hadn't put down his cigarette since finishing his meal. Rook shrugged. Nothing wrong with farming. My parents are good people and they do important work, but we're getting older anymore, and I'm no Synotis. I think if I had to stay on a farm for eternity, I'd go insane. My idea of Elysium is a little less pastoral and more actually doing something. Nightingale chuckled, though she didn't have a clue who Cincinnatus was. When I graduate, I'm going to join the Demiurge, Elenia Special Forces. Every day is an adventure after that. Why don't you join too, Rook? Her smile widened. I've got a friend who's already in. I'm sure he can put in a good word for you. We'll see, Rook said. I don't want to farm, but I know my parents expect me to come home. I don't want to disappoint them. Farming's so lame. We all have our roles, Rook said. There were a few moments of silence then, as each waited for the others to speak. Nightingale turned slightly to look at Remy. What about you? Do you have any crushing familial expectations too? Remy looked away, shifting uncomfortably. I don't really know. They waited, but Remy didn't elaborate. We shouldn't give up adventuring like this, Nightingale declared. If we're here, we might as well enjoy Middara's advantages. We could live forever exploring ancient ruins, rescuing artifacts of unimaginable power, saving the world. Zeke cleared his throat. As lame as farming is, I bet there are more old farmers than old adventurers. Corn doesn't try to eat you, monsters do. They can try, Nightingale flexed her thin arms. Have you seen these guns? Yeah, we'll see. Zeke rolled his eyes. There's still one more day left in the mass. Plenty of time to find something big and hungry enough. They'd probably have to eat 5 of you to fill up, though. Or 1, Rook, Remy said. Rest came easier the second night, though Nightingale awoke a little sore from all the walking and fighting. They didn't stay long, but another breakfast of trail rations, and it was back to the cave for the last day of the mast. She couldn't wait for the next fight, but the passage in front of them seemed rough and unfinished. Confused, Nightingale glanced around the cavernous chamber. That's strange. Nightingale kept walking forward. I don't see a bellicose cube. You think we're done already? No, Rook said flatly. Every team has to go through the gauntlet. We haven't got there yet. Nightingale skipped farther into the darkness, searching for the next challenge. Wait! Rook called, gesturing to a pile of rubble near one wall. He hurried over, glancing at the crushed remains of a silver basin. We better be careful. It looks like something happened to the cube. Nightingale screamed, cutting him off. Rook spun, staring down the hall in horror. A massive stone figure charged straight at Nightingale, trailing bits of broken stone. Before Rook could move, it smashed into Nightingale with a stone fist, sending her spinning across the floor. The creature advanced on her, threatening to crush her beneath its massive weight. Nightingale lifted her weapon in a futile attempt to frighten it away. Rook charged across the room, smashing his shoulder into the creature's back. He knocked it aside moments before its massive stone arms came down around Nightingale. Rook pulled at Nightingale's shirt, yanking her to her feet as the monster began to rise again. Run. There's no cube. It could really kill us. Yeah, Nightingale said with a gasp. Together they ran back the way they came. Eventually they come to a stop, panting heavily. That was exhilarating. Nightingale wiped the dirt and slime off her hands. Exhilarating? Remy caught up to them nearby, recuperating from the sprint. That thing could have killed you. Nightingale nodded. What was that thing, anyway? I think it was an Earth Lua. I wonder if it crushed the cube before we got there, Rook muttered. Nightingale burst out laughing. I just realized you saved a princess in distress. So cliché. I guess I did, Rook grinned back. Don't tell my parents. Thanks. Nightingale walked back up beside him, and her hand shook a little as she slapped him on the back. I should have noticed that wasn't just a pile of rocks. Rook relaxed. No big deal. That's why you never venture alone. Zeke approached, lit cigarette in hand. Good work, Rook. Let's try not to let that happen again. Nightingale nodded, and the group made their way into the dark. So if you know anything about Earth Luas, this really shows how badass Rook is, but we'll talk about that when we actually fight our Earth Lua. Alright. They continue on for what felt like hours. Nightingale purposely stayed at the front, determined to prove she wasn't afraid. Eventually she heard something from up ahead. Hey, I hear voices. Remy hurried along beside her. You think we made it to the end? Rook shook his head. We have to do the gauntlet first. That's always how the mast ends. They emerged in a vast cavern packed with other students. There were lots of little wounds and hasty bandages, but also breaks and untreated gashes and tears. One young man kept himself standing only with the aid of a makeshift splint and walking stick, while another group had one of its members resting between them, badly wounded. Zeke pointed toward the front of the room where a group of uniformed proctors waited by the door. Let's see what's up, he muttered, striding purposely up to them. The men standing by the door all nodded respectfully to them. Lord Zhang, Princess Arson, the spindly proctor with white hair, stepped forward to address them. Glad you make it. What's going on? Zeke gestured behind them at the crowd. Professor lowered his head deferentially. You've reached the gauntlet. Each team must survive the same section of the dungeon, so you're sent through one at a time. If you like your team moved ahead in the queue. No, Zeke snapped. We'll wait our turn with everyone else. They left without another word, quickly finding Rook and Remy. You were right, it's the gauntlet. Rook nodded, satisfied. It was in the study guide. What is it? What is it? They don't expect us to share a glove, right? Remy chuckled to herself. Nobody laughed. It's different for every graduating class, so it's hard to be sure. It's the thing they wanted us to be most prepared for. The gauntlet is the same for everyone, so every graduate will be ready for. He shrugged. So every graduate will be ready for. He shrugged. Whatever. It's usually the hardest part. After what we've been through, Nightingale gave Remy an encouraging pat. I'm sure it'll be nothing. We got this. 2 years of lectures, 2 years of weapons practice, and learning magic. She looked up as the heavy oak door opened and another team was ushered inside. That's our ticket to the outside world, to citizenship, to the demiurge, she thought. Eventually, the white-haired proctor approached them. We're ready for you, Prince and Princess. We're ready, Nightingale answered before any of the others could object. Let's do this. And we proceed to Gauntlet Chamber 1. As you enter the double doors that lead to the gauntlet, you are surprised to find a serene chamber with a large pool of water inside. The water begins swirling at first, then it slowly rises and takes shape. It forms into 2 female figures. They stare at you with glowing eyes. For a moment, the monsters scream, summoning balls of glowing water in their hands. Win condition, you have to get to the blue exit, otherwise get defeated. Special rules is just grading. Nothing special here. Every combatant killed is 2 points, and if you get defeated, you lose 5 points. So, next time, we get to the first part of the gauntlet. So, water loas. Let's go ahead and read the back of this. Troubled waters. For a long time, loas were thought to be spirits trapped in specifically grafted gems, relics of a long-dead civilization. Gems known to contain loas were very rare, and it was assumed that the magic used to capture a loa and crystal had been lost. Once the recolonization of Alinea began in earnest, explorers soon began encountering loas in the wild. These sentient crystalline beings were determined to be a species unto themselves, with each loa acting as an individual. Every loa has a preferred medium it uses to create a body. When dormant, a loa appears to be a semi-precious gem. Loa crystals span a wide range of colors, hues, and sheens. If a loa feels threatened or wants to move somewhere else, it can gather materials of its favorite element around itself to create a body. Loas of all types are a very common sight in Alinea. Water loas draw nourishment from water and in process purify it. In fact, were it not for the inevitable conflict between humans and loa, it might be beneficial to keep a few in the city's water supply to purify it. Unfortunately, if a water loa sees anyone drawing from their waters, they will defend their territory ferociously. When a water loa creates a body, it pulls water around itself. usually in the shape of a slight female humanoid. Unlike earth loas, who usually only form a body when threatened, water loas are often seen in this state. It's speculated that this form was originally taken as a self-defense mechanism, as many adventurers would likely let their guard down when approaching such a form. While other loas are largely solitary, water loas are much more social, interacting with other creatures in their environments. This has caused many to consider if loas could be more intelligent than they appear. While there is no recorded account of the creatures learning any language that humans can understand, it's widely accepted that they can communicate complex ideas and emotions to each other. We'll talk more about water loas and the hell they cause next time. I am Vita Prestior. This was Middara, Unintentional Malum, Part 1, or Act 1, and I'll see you guys next time.